60-goal season and that era of your career being kind of like your Stanley Cup. What was it like? Was there a clear before and after moment when you had hit 60 goals? Because one thing that we do love to talk about here, we had Daryl Sittler on talking about the 10-point night, Doug Gilmour talking about the wraparound goal, and how these moments of legend kind of define a player's career and become sort of the basis by which fans remember you. Once you got that 60-goal season, what changed for you moving forward?
Well, the fact that we were trying to chase that guy that I think had 92 goals that season, 202 points or whatever he had. I think his name was Gretzky.
I've heard of him.
Bossy had 63 and I had 60. I was third. And I had a few games left, 2 or 3 games, and I just couldn't score. I had chances, but I ended up stuck at 60. But, during that whole season and that, my line mates were Chris Valentine and Ryan Walter, and we stayed together the whole year. We're on a power play together. And when you get on a line and you compliment each other and things work well, the coach definitely doesn't want to move us around or other than that. And so I owe a lot of credit to those two guys that you can't do it by yourself. And I know Gretzky would probably say the same thing. He had look at the guys that he had in that team scoring all those goals, and what the explosive team they had in the 80s was unbelievable. And here's this little guy from Rexton, Ontario, getting 60 goals and 136 points in the top 10 in the scoring race with all those other guys with Marcel John. So, those things were that year, and it was great to be involved with that elite group. And, the year before that, I had 50 goals. So, I had 110 goals. So, I think there's a lot to be said in that with the book that I became a little bit challenged with due to the fact that I think I was in certain cities that didn't get the recognition that a lot of other guys did.
Well, and here's a really interesting point. Well, one, how this one guy, 99, kind of stole the spotlight from a lot of unbelievably great players,
right.
Mike Bossy, and
right.
not stole the spotlight. Everybody stood on their own, but
Right.
the focus was because Wayne was just, lighting it up so big.
Right.
But Mike Boss, all those great players, 60 goals. I mean, there's not very many people that have that. And
I mean, we have right now in Washington what a lot of people are calling potentially the best goal scorer, pure goal scorer of all time in Alex Ovechkin. And he's, he's not touching your points, like there's so much to be said about the fact that the path that you laid down is something that still to this day, they've had a Stanley Cup winning team and they haven't touched that record.
But Dennis was talking about something as well, which is, how your career lines up. So you had 60 goals on a team that was a good team. But
right.
Can you imagine, and we talk about this with players like Marcel Dion, like one of the best goal scorers of all time, one of the best players around,
and
too.
who also wrote the foreword of your book as well.
Right. And Marcel ends up in L.A. If he ends up in Montreal, he's a legend.
Right.
Like, unbelievable. And Marcel was just such a great player. So it's where you end up, who you're playing with. Even Sidney Crosby, 3 Stanley Cups. But can you imagine if he had a guy like Pat Kane on his wing?
Sure.
Like somebody that can play up to that level, and feed the puck and give the puck to. So you do it without the supporting cast, say that Wayne did. You had some great players on the team, but Wayne had some every player. Now he made a lot of great players too.
Right.
Was there, looking back, I'm sure it's different now, but as a player in the league, in what a lot of people would probably call Wayne Gretzky's league at that time, was there any resentment towards the fact, maybe not him as a person or a player, but towards the fact that he got so much attention and was put around such talented players? Or was it just a matter of, they're the big bad team that we have to face, and that's just the way that things go?
No, he was a phenomenal player. There's no doubt about it. They did have great players. He had great players to play with them, but that's a compliment to the organization and the Edmonton Oilers to get all those good players and put them on a team. They were the team of the 80s. And
right.
When I was in Minnesota with the North Stars, I think it was 84 year, we had to play them in the semifinals to go to the finals. And we had 4 great hockey games. We were beating them 4-1 in the third game in Minnesota, midway through second period, we lost 7-5. That's how much power they had. But we didn't sit on that 4-1. We played great. They just woke up and said, "Oh, geez, we better do something." That's just the way they were. I think players, you only allowed 20 players on a team, so I think in a player's mind, you always want to win. You get an opportunity to play and a chance for the Stanley Cup. And I think in Minnesota, we had a real strong team there with Cicerelli, Broad, and Hartsburg and all that. With goaltender with Donnie Beaupre and Joe Malash. We had a great group. We just didn't have enough firepower against the Oilers. And
Sure.
I think we had the team that could have beat them. And one game was, real close, 3-1 and 4-2, and it was all. But I mean, you move on as a hockey player. You understand that I think Marcel, look what he did, and he hasn't won a Stanley Cup, and I think that's as you said, putting him in Montreal. Wow, I mean, yeah, look at that. There'd
Totally
be
different
a lot
story.
of Stanley Cups with Marcel. So it's just timing. It's what it is, and your dream is to play in the National Hockey League, and you do whatever you can.
Thank you so much for watching this clip of the Sign Off, a Frameworth podcast. Just a reminder that we have full episodes of the Sign Off available wherever you get your podcasts, on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. Make sure to like and subscribe on whichever platform you use. You can find us on Twitter at Frameworth Sport or on Instagram at Frameworth Sports. And hey, if you're not sick of me yet, you can find me on Twitter at Retrograde Mikey. Finally, feel free to send us emails with your questions you want us to answer on the show, and we may feature you live. You can do that by sending your emails to signoffpod@frameworth.com. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you with a new episode every single Thursday.